I'm ready.
The views expressed on this.
Hello, hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It's Health and Wellness Monday, and our topic for today is From Patient to Partner, Making Your Voice Heard in the Exam Room. We are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from the Drive at 5 with Roman. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. On the last episode of Warriors Talk, Rosal and I discussed how to get out of the friend zone. You can head over to YouTube and type in Intellectual Radio and stay connected for any episodes you may have missed. The quote of the day is, "An educated patient is an empowered patient." We have two announcements on today. The National Breast Cancer Coalition will be hosting its 2025 Advocate Leadership Summit coming up May 3rd through the 6th, taking place in Washington, D.C. for a weekend of exciting programming. On Tuesday the 6th will be our official lobby day on Capitol Hill. We're going to have a rally taking place at 9 a.m., followed by advocates meeting with the congressmen and women. And the summit prepares advocates for a meaningful seat at the table wherever breast cancer decisions are being made. You can also join NBCC July 27th through August the 1st for Project Lead, taking place in La Jolla, California. There's no registration fee, no tuition fee. Course materials, contents, and meals are provided. Attendees are expected to cover their travel and their stay. However, there are scholarships available, but they are limited. So you can head over to stopbreastcancer.org before April the 25th so that you can fill out your application and take advantage of the scholarships. Make sure you tell them that Warriors Talk sent you. If you are tuned in on any form of social media, please like the show, share the show, and invite someone else in on the show that you feel may benefit from this valuable information. I'm so grateful for my sponsor on today. I have Pastor Michael Richardson with the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ, who has a special message for us.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
And we're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at Emmanuel Kojic at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emmanuel Kojic-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson. And we are from the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
Our topic, From Patient to Partner, Making Your Voice Heard in the Exam Room. So today we're going to talk about taking control of your appointments when you go see the doctor. So I could just remember the first time that I advocated for myself in the doctor's office. I was actually 25 and I had a male doctor at the time. And I remember just hearing the word cancer a lot. And I asked him, "Can you test me for cancer?" And he was like, "Why? Like, you're young, I don't think you have cancer. Like, why would you want to be tested?" I'm like, "How would you know that I don't have it if I'm not tested? Like, can I get tested?" And so he kind of brushed me off. And so that next Monday, I switched doctors. I asked for a female doctor. And when I first saw her, she was like, "Okay, well, I see that you have been coming here, but you were seeing another doctor. Like, what are your concerns?" And so I told her what my concern was, and she said, "Okay, we'll go ahead and give you a test." So she did a blood test, and then she called me back and say, it was normal. We didn't see any reason to be alarmed. So I was like, okay, but I felt like I was actually heard, like she heard me and she did something to address my concerns. And a lot of times that does not happen when you in a doctor's office, because a lot of times you don't have the time to address the concerns that we have. And sometimes we go in there and we don't be honest about what our concerns are. So today we're going to talk about how you can make your voice be heard when you are in that exam room. And the first thing you need to know is that you belong in that room, right? You belong in that room. You are the patient. You are paying that doctor for a service, and they are supposed to give you that service. So if you walk in there, you walk in the store and you came there to get some items, but you didn't walk out with any items, but you pay a fee, right? It's like, why would you just throw your money away? So you have to make sure that you remind yourself that every time you step into the doctor's office, that you are the most important person in that room and that your concerns should be heard. I'm going to encourage you to prepare ahead of time. Don't walk into the doctor's office and you have nothing prepared. You haven't written anything down. You haven't even thought about the appointment, whether it's an annual appointment or a follow-up appointment. You should have some type of questions, concerns, some type of feedback that or dialogue that should be going on between you and the doctor. There should not just be, oh yeah, I'm okay. You all right? Yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. Meanwhile, you're at home and you're suffering, you have any symptoms, but when you get in front of the doctor, for some reason, you are not being honest. And if you're not being honest, then there's no way that your concerns are going to be addressed. So you need to make sure that you are preparing before you go into the doctor's office. And just remember that when you ask questions, even if it sounds stupid to you and you're like, oh, I shouldn't ask this question, it's going to make me seem like I'm slow or I don't understand. But don't feel bad. Ask questions. Prepare those questions ahead of time that you want to discuss, that you may be too embarrassed to discuss. You can email the doctor your questions if you don't want to ask the question face to face. You can type it out, bring it with you, hand it to the doctor so that the doctor has a copy of it. They can address it before they even see you. You don't even have to open your mouth, but you should be coming in there prepared with something written down so that you can walk away if you have some specific concerns that you want to discuss with the doctor. Because once you leave there, I guarantee you, you're going to think of a whole bunch of things that you can say or you could have said. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I forgot to say this. I forgot to say that. And by the next time you go back to the doctor, you're not even going to address those concerns. Hey, Marquita, she says, according to Dr. Mark Heyman, a functional medicine doctor, the patient is the smartest person in the room because she knows her body. And I totally agree with that. The doctor does not know what you're going through at home. They do not. You know those things, and you should be writing those down. If you are experiencing any type of symptoms, you should be writing those symptoms down so that when you step into the doctor's office, because a lot of us may get, hey, Marshall, a lot of us may get, I call it white coat syndrome, which I believe I have and I get all the time when I go to the doctor. As soon as I step in that doctor's office, my blood pressure, I feel like it's high, my pulse is high, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. And the doctor like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. I have the white coat syndrome. And then once I have sat there for a while, then they'll check those numbers over again, and then they'll be normal. But if you are hiding symptoms or not being honest, truthfully, what's going on with you at home, then there's no way that the doctor is going to be able to address anything. So if you feel like, oh, this may be a stupid question, ask it anyway. Ask the question anyway, because you just never know where that question may lead to. The next thing I would tell you is to trust your gut. Trust your gut. Whatever it is that you're feeling in your gut, whether it be at home, when you get there, when you're sitting there, a question, something may pop up, ask the doctor, discuss it. what is it going to hurt? This is your health, right? In your health, we say your health is wealth. Without your health, you can have all the wealth in the world, but you won't be able to enjoy it because you don't have your health. So trust your gut when you walk into that doctor's office, even if you feel like there's something like they're being dismissive, they're not really addressing your concerns, and you feel like, okay, they're not listening to me, they just glossed over everything that I say. Trust your gut, speak up. Don't allow them to silence you because they only have 15 minutes for this appointment. If something feels off, whether it's a diagnosis, a vibe, or the care that you're receiving at that time, you have a right to either seek other options, or you have a right to speak up. So don't allow the lack of them, the compassion that they have for you at that time, because sometimes they don't mean to have less compassion. It's just they seeing people come in like an assembly line, and they only have 15 minutes with you and then 15 minutes with the next person. So if you're in there taking up all of that time, that's the less patience that they're seeing. If it affects their money. So trust your gut. Number 5 would be, make sure you bring a support person. Especially if you're going to the doctor to find out about a test that you just took. Don't dare go to that appointment by yourself, because as soon as they tell you what the results were, you're not going to hear anything else after that. Your mind is going to be like, oh my God, am I going to die? Am I going to be sick? What's going to happen? Is my lifestyle going to change? Like, all these things are going to be popping in your head. So you need to make sure you do not go to the doctor by yourself. Even if it's just a regular appointment and you're afraid to go to the doctor, sometimes having somebody else with you can kind of take your mind off of what's going on. Hey, Diane. Diane said the only stupid question is the question you don't ask, and you need to. I totally agree with that. You need to ask the question. Don't feel embarrassed or ashamed because you have a question. At the time, you may know the answer, but by you sitting there, you feel intimidated by what's going on. So you're like, oh, I don't want to ask that question. That sounds crazy. Ask the question anyway. Ask the question anyway. So just remember, take somebody with you to support you, somebody that's going to help keep you calm, and they're not going to be there like, girl, this could be wrong with you, that could be wrong with you. No, you want somebody that's going to be a true support for you, that's going to be able to calm your nerves and feed some positivity into you while you're waiting to see the doctor. It's a support system. So it could be a trusted friend or family, somebody that can listen to you, somebody that can take notes, somebody that can speak up and ask the questions that you may not even think to answer while you're sitting there. Number 6 would be, don't be afraid to say, I don't understand, or what does that mean? Like, ask the doctor, clarify it. Don't be afraid to ask them to repeat it if you feel like you didn't hear, or, oh, is that what I thought I heard what they said, but I wasn't sure if that was it. Ask them to clarify it. Your health depends on it, right? For you to get the full understanding of what it is that they're telling you about your health. So don't feel bad that you have to say, can you tell it to me in layman's terms? Like, can you just in my language, not doctor's language? Like, I need to be able to understand exactly what you're saying so I know exactly what I'm dealing with. Don't be afraid to say that. It doesn't make you, less of a person. It doesn't make you slow, but it makes you a person who wants to be informed about what's going on with their health. And number 7 would be to keep a journal, keep a health journal, everything that's going on with you. So when you go to the doctor, have your health journal, write it down. What was my blood pressure? What was my pulse? What was my weight? What was the issues that we discussed? And a lot of times you don't even have to write this down because they would actually print this stuff out for you. But you can also keep your own records. This is what the doctor discussed. These are the questions that I asked. These are the things that I need to work on. So by the next time the doctor sees me, these things are taken care of, or my numbers are looking better. Keep your own health journal so that you can refer back to that journal. So I went to the doctor in November for my annual, and when I say it was a horrible appointment. It was so horrible. I was like, oh my God, I felt like all of the work that I had been doing, that I thought I was doing towards my health, was just in vain. So right away, the doctor is like, oh, we're going to put you on some high blood pressure medicine. Oh, you're pre-diabetic. Oh, you have thyroid issues. Oh, this, oh, that. I was like, red light, because number one, we in this 15-minute appointment and you just take my blood pressure and all of a sudden you want to throw me on some medicine. Like, what else can we do besides you throwing me on this medicine? And he really wasn't trying to hear that. So he writes me a prescription. So I said, okay, what's the lowest dose you could give me of the high blood pressure medicine? Like, what's the lowest dose? And what is this medicine? What's the side effects? What is this going to do for me? Can I stop taking it whenever I want to? He's like, oh yeah, you can stop taking it when you want to. I just want to be able to bring your numbers down. So at the time, my numbers were I think it was 160. I think it was 169 over 90, which is high. So I was like, okay. So he prescribed the medicine to me. And I said, okay, I'm going to go home and see how I could get this number down. So he said, come back and see me in a month. I said, okay. So I went home and I said, Lord, I'm not about to take this medicine. I'm not about to start taking high blood pressure medicine because I've heard about all the side effects and I know what it can do to your body. And although it may bring the pressure down, it's going to mess with your kidneys. It's going to mess with your heart. It's going to mess with all these other organs while it's trying to bring this number down. Like, and if it's a lifestyle, then why not tell me, okay, work on the lifestyle. Whatever you're doing in your lifestyle is causing your pressure to be high. So you need to figure it out so that you can bring that number down. So I just went home and I said, I was already exercising. I was already not eating certain foods. So I said, now I'm going to concentrate on the amount of sodium that I eat in my food. And I started making sure that I wasn't eating food that, the processed food. So my processed food got really low. So I, just limit the amount of processed food in my lifestyle, because I don't want to call it a diet. And I started making sure I was getting my water intake. I'm drinking hibiscus tea, because hibiscus tea, I'm looking on the internet for things that would naturally bring your blood pressure down. I started eating grapefruits every day. I brought one of my ladies at my church, she brought me a high blood pressure cup so that I can monitor my blood pressure. And so I did all of those things. I go back to the doctor a month later. My number went down a little bit. It went down, I think it was like 162 over maybe 80 or something like that. And he was like, oh, I see that your number, went down. So how did the pills work? I was like, I don't know, because I never took them. And he was like, what? I said, I never took them. He was like, well, what was you doing? I said, well, I've been exercising. I'm watching my sodium and this and that. So he was like, well, what are you trying to do? I don't want to take this medicine. I want to be able to bring this number down naturally. If you're saying that this is a lifestyle, type 2 diabetes it's a lifestyle. It depends on your lifestyle, and you should be able to change your lifestyle and those numbers should be able to improve. So I want to be able to change whatever it is that I have to change in order for these numbers to improve. So he goes and get the head doctor. She comes in. He's telling her, oh, she doesn't want to take the medicine. She's talking about she wants to do, the lifestyle change. And she was a Black doctor. He was a Caucasian man. So she was like, okay, let her do it. If she wants to do it, give her 3 months and let her, change her diet, whatever it is she needs to do. Come back in 3 months, document your blood pressure every single week, and then come back and then we can revisit the conversation. Okay. So I will be making my appointment to go back to the doctor in a couple of weeks. So I've been keeping track of my blood pressure. When I first started taking it at home, it was at 154, maybe over like 73. The last time I took it, it was like 128 over 65 or something like that. So, and then I had some 120s in there. So the numbers have been coming down because I have been making sure I'm not taking in a lot of unnecessary sodium. and I'm walking 3 times a week, as well as doing my strength exercises to make sure I'm building my muscle mass. And I'm just making sure that stress is not a factor in my life. I'm trying to, one of the hardest things that I need to work on and improve on a lot is my sleep pattern, because that would help as well, because your blood pressure can be increased because of that. So those are things that I have been working on, so that when I go back to him and he runs my numbers and he sees my log, and then he'd be like, oh, okay, so yeah, she's been doing what she's supposed to do. Yes. And he told me, he said, some people, they don't want to do the work, and they'll just be like, I know I ain't gonna do all that. Just give me the medicine, because I ain't got time to do it. Just give me the pills. And I'm just like, no, I don't want to be on no pills for the rest of my life. I figure I'm serious. Every time I mention this, and it has something to do with the chemo, that when I did the chemo, and then they gave me those 7 to 9 pills every time I had the chemo, I was like, I don't want to be on no medicine. Like, I don't even take medicine for headaches. So he just looked at me and he said, okay, well, I'll see you in 3 months. So I'll see you in 3 months. So I'll keep you guys updated on what happens when I go back and when he runs my numbers, because I refuse to be one of your numbers. You just passing me off as a number to write a prescription when you have not even had the conversation with me to say, okay, what is it in your lifestyle? What's going on? What are you eating? And I know that they're not really educated in that. They get like a semester when it comes to nutrition. So they're not really educated in it or vested in you improving your lifestyle naturally, because they won't be in business. I won't be coming to him as often if I'm doing that, if my lifestyle is on track with food and everything. There's no need for me to go see him maybe but just once a year. There's no need for him to write a prescription. So, what's the benefit do they get out of that? The benefit that they get is writing as many prescriptions as they can. That's what they learned in school. You see a person, you figure out what the symptoms are, and then you find a prescription that matches that. Not you see what the symptoms are and you find out how to treat it naturally. That's not what they're taught. So you have to take control of your own health. So the way for me to take control of my health and to advocate for myself sitting in that doctor's office was like, nope, I'm not going to allow you to put me on no medicine right now until I figure out and take control of what I'm putting in my mouth, being responsible for moving with my body, and the things that I can control. Now, if it's something that I can't control, and we know that it may be genetics, it could be genetics, but you have to remember that genetics just loads the gun, but your lifestyle pulls that trigger. So whatever you're doing to pull that trigger, you need to stop. You need to unload the gun with your lifestyle choices, making healthier choices. So make sure you keep a journal. So when you go back to the doctor, so when I go back, before I go back, I'm going to take my blood pressure before I even get there. So that once I get there, they're going to take it. And I just want to see how different it is from when I take it that morning, from when they take it. So I can say, okay, yeah, maybe this is white coat syndrome when I get in here or whatever. But I just want to see if it's going to be a difference. And that's just, for me, it's just the power that I have over my health that I can control. Because I don't want to be treated like a number. And Marshall said, you're on the right track. Thank you, Marshall. That means a lot coming from you, because I know you are on the health thing. I admire everything that you're doing when it comes to health and how you have turned your life around from your diagnosis to not just sit back and be like, okay, I had this diagnosis, so there's really nothing I can do. But there's so much that we can do to take control of our health and just not sit back and feed our bodies with all these chemicals. So number 9, ask for clarification. If the doctor says, and I asked him when I wanted to not take the medicine, I said, well, what can I do? What can you recommend me do in order to bring my numbers down? He said, take the pills and the pills will bring the numbers down. I said, well, what else can I do? And he had nothing for me. He didn't say anything about exercising, lifestyle, nothing. He didn't say anything about that. It was just you take these pills and it'll bring it down. And once you see the numbers start coming down, if you want to stop taking it, then you could do that. And I was just like, what? What is this? Like, no. And I wanted to say, what would you recommend? And this is a question that you can ask the doctor, kind of put it back on them, make them feel the human side of it, and ask them, would you recommend this medicine to your mom, to your sister, to your wife? Like, would you recommend them take this medicine knowing the side effects of the medicine? Ask them that and see what they say. They may be honest, they may not. Marquita says, is it berberine, olive leaf extract, and raw garlic? I heard of the raw garlic, and I do have some at home. Are also good for blood pressure. She says, also, your arm should be at heart level when you take your blood pressure. Take your medicine, take your machine with you to the doctor to compare the Oh, I'm glad you said that. So I will do that. I will make sure I take it so that they can look at it to compare the reading. That's a good idea. Now, she mentioned your arm should be at heart level. So I was looking on YouTube, and there was some doctors on there was telling you how to do your blood pressure. And yes, Marquita, one of the ways they said that you take it is your arm should be elevated. It should be elevated to where your heart is, right? And the machine, the cup, the line that you plug into the machine, it should be towards the front of your arm. Your feet should be flat on the floor, and you should empty your bladder before you do it. And you should sit at least 5 minutes before taking the reading. So all of those things that I have been doing, and they have been working for me. You can also do breathing exercises before you take it. And you could do, they call wall sits, where you can sit on the wall for like 2 minutes, and you do it for 8 minutes. So you'll do 2 minutes and then you'll rest, do 2 minutes and then you'll rest. So you can sit on the wall almost like you're doing a squat, and it will help you lower your blood pressure as well. So those are just some things that I've learned just doing my own research. She says he don't know how to help you as well. And that's so true. He didn't know what to tell me. And I was just looking at him like, I'm like, are you serious? So you want me to take this medicine, but you can't give me any other thing that I can do? No alternatives? No. They help you stay sick. And it's called sick care. I heard somebody say that. It's called sick care. It's not health care. It's sick care, because the only way that they're going to make money is to keep you sick. And yeah, the medicine is probably going to bring down the blood pressure it's also going to mess with other things in your body as well. So I'm just like, no, dude, no. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to, if it's lifestyle, then I'm not going to be lazy about what I need to do to bring those numbers down. And let me just tell you, the more that you do what you're supposed to do, it becomes part of your lifestyle. So if it's the 30-minute walking, I don't walk outside because I really don't have time to walk outside. But I do this 30-minute video. I'm walking. I do 5 miles in this one 30-minute video, and it helps bring down the blood pressure. Walking does, period. It has many benefits, not just for the blood pressure, but I do it 3 times a week, and it really has been helping me. So even if you don't have the time to do it outside, I make time. It's your health. You should be making time. Whether you think you don't have time to do it, you should be making time, because guess what? When you're sick, you're not going to have a choice. When you laying in the bed and you're sick and you've been admitted into the hospital and you don't have a choice, you can't go nowhere. So you need to get moving and take control of your health right now while you can, while you have some sort of control, the things that you can control. Marquita said chronic illness is profitable. Girl, it's $1 billion business. That's who I do my walking with, Marquita, Leslie. She is so great. Yes, I do walk from home with Leslie. She is on YouTube. You could just type it, walk from home with Leslie, and She has different videos, different times that you could do 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and you will really feel those walking exercises. And you really just walking. You're not really doing a lot of different exercises. It's straight walking. I love it. So just look it up. If you don't have time to do anything else, you can make time to do the walking. Make time for your health. Make time for your health. So we're on number 10. Number 10 says, if you don't understand, then ask them to write it out. Request written instructions. What do you want me to do? What is it you say I have? Okay, write it out so that when I get home, I'll be able to read over this thing. Oh, I got to show it to my husband. So he ask for it to be written. And you should be able to have it. If you're telling me this, I should be able to have something written out to whatever it is that you're saying, not just you telling me this and then okay bye and you sending me on my way. No, write it down. And if you got to ask them to repeat it, repeat the information. And remember, if you don't understand it, if you speak Spanish and you don't understand it, can I get an interpreter? Can I get a patient advocate? Sometimes you have to ask for a patient advocate or bring a patient advocate with you to your appointment. How about that? Ask for a patient advocate. They're going to be there to fight for you because you may not be able to do it for yourself. There are people out here that does this for a living. Don't minimize your symptoms. If you are experiencing symptoms, write it down. Write it down. And when you go to the doctor, hand it to him in writing so you don't have to try to think about it. I can't remember. Just write it down. These are the things that I am experiencing on these particular days, how many times a day, so that they know. And you're not just in the office guessing, trying to figure out. So then they're piecing clues together, trying to figure out what's wrong with you. No, write the symptoms down. Ask about alternatives, which I tried to ask my doctor about alternatives, but if it's alternatives to you not taking medicine, they may not give it to you. Some doctors, very few doctors may say, oh, okay, they may mention holistic, they may not. If that's not their specialty, they're not going to mention that. So you may have to seek out alternatives yourself, but still ask, what other alternatives can I take? Or what can I do versus doing this? And that's what I was asking him. Like, okay, besides taking this medicine, what can I do? What can I do myself? I'm not putting the burden back on you, but what can I do in order for my numbers to look better when I come back and see you versus taking the medicine? I felt, to me, and it's just me, I felt that taking the medicine was being lazy. I felt like, yeah, I could just pop a pill in my mouth and just go about my day, eat what I want, not exercising. Yeah, I could do that. But I felt like for me, it was just being lazy. Now, granted, some people have to take medicine. Some people do. Some people, you got people that are asthmatic. They have to take medicine. My daughter's a type 1 diabetic. She needs that insulin or she won't live. So some people have to take medicine. But if you're saying that if you change your lifestyle that you won't have to take this medicine, then allow me to change my lifestyle so that I won't. And it's not easy. Let me just say, changing your lifestyle from something that you have been doing all of your life is not easy. I'll be 55 this year, the double nickel. So I'll be 55 this year. And so I've been practicing these behaviors all of my life. And then now I have to change them because I want to have a nice quality of life. I want to have a better quality of life. And at one point I was saying I want to have optimal health, right? No, I want to have divine health. I want to have divine health. I want the type of health that God intended this body to be, how he intended it to operate. And our bodies are a self-healing machine. If we put the right things in our body, we have to fuel it with the right stuff. If you put the wrong gas, if you put diesel in a car, what's going to happen? You're going to mess that engine up. So you have to fuel your bodies with the right foods in order for it to function properly. Angela says, hello, Warriors Talk. You made it, Angela. I'm so glad you made it, Angela. I didn't have to go looking for you. I'm glad you made it. So number 14 is know your medical rights. A lot of times when we sit down in that doctor's chair, we don't know. We don't know what our rights are. You have a right to see your medical records. They should be giving you a summary at the end, whether they print it out or whether they put it in the My Charts. But you should have some type of summary. Even if you ask for it right then and there, they should be able to print something out for you right then and there. Because if you leave there and then you call them back and say, hey, can you print me a summary of what happened today? It's going to be so hard for you to get it. It's going to be close to impossible. So try to make a mental note of, can you print out whatever happened today so I have it for my records? And sometimes they do give it to you. I know when I take my kids to the doctor, they always give it to me for them. So make sure that you ask for it. It's yours. Those are your records. They should not be refusing that. Make sure that you're keeping a journal of what's happening so that you can refer back to it. Because last time I was here, this is what happened. This is what you said. And know your rights about seeking a second opinion. You have a right to get a second opinion. You have a right to get a second opinion. This is your body. You should not have to, take the doctor's word as law, especially if you feel in your gut that something is not right. This doesn't feel right. You have a right to say, I'm going to get a second opinion. You have a right to your medical records. You have a right to refuse or delay treatment while you're considering those options. Now, I will say, don't delay treatment as a stall tactic. You like, oh, I'm scared, and you're using it as a stall tactic. Don't do that, because your health could be it's, especially if it's cancer, your health could be, your life is depending on you getting the tests that you need in order to come up with some type of plan to treat you, whether that be a holistic plan or whether that be the plan that your doctors come up with. But you want to make sure that if you're seeking a second opinion, you're not just doing it as a stall tactic, but you're actually doing it because something in your gut is saying something is not sitting right with me, and because you have a right. Because you have a right to get a second opinion. You have that right. Angela said, yes, please keep up with your medical records. And a lot of times we don't. We just take it for face value. We just go in there and let them do what they need to do. Look up the My Charts and see the notes, the summary of what the doctor said. What did the doctor say? Because you may miss something, and then you go back next time and he'd be like, oh, I see this number is still high, so I'm gonna put you on some medicine. You're like, what? You didn't even say it was high last time. We didn't even address that last time, but it was high. But now he got it documented in your file, and it didn't even get addressed. So make sure that you are going over your medical records when you get home. Don't be afraid. Open up the My Charts and read it. I was telling my doctor before she left and went to a different practice. I was like, can you call me? I know you're going to put it in My Charts, but can you call me with my results? Like, I want to hear your voice. And she would call me. She would call me with the results. Even if I just call to tell you that the test that we took, this test, everything was good. I'll see you in a year. If you have any concerns, like, follow up with me. Like, yeah, I can read the My Charts. That's fine. But depends on the type of relationship that you have with your doctor, which we should be building a relationship with our doctor. It should be from patient to partnership and not just you coming in like an assembly line, a number after number. No, it shouldn't. It really shouldn't be that way. This should be a person that you feel comfortable with. You feel comfortable opening up with about your symptoms. This should be a person that should not intimidate you when you go and sit in that chair. But a lot of times we don't have a relationship with our doctors because sometimes we don't even see the same doctor every time we go back. It'd be somebody different. because the residents got to get their time in. So you may see somebody different every time. And I can remember going to the doctor and seeing a resident. And I swear this lady didn't touch me. She didn't touch me. She was just reading off the computer, this and that. Oh, well, I noticed this, I noticed that. And she was reading all this stuff. And I was like looking at her. She was asking me, did I want to be, since I had blood clots before, she was like, you should be on blood thinners. I was like, no, I shouldn't. The blood clots came as a result of the chemo the second time, which we know chemo, that's one of the side effects. So no, I shouldn't be on blood thinners for the rest of my life when I could just eat green leafy vegetables. It thins my blood. I could take black seed oil. It thins my blood versus me being on some Coumadin for the rest of my life. No. So she had an attitude with me, and she was like, is it a reason why you don't want to be on the medicine? Yes, because I don't want to be taking medicine for the rest of my life. And our appointment was it was not personable at all. So when the survey came for me to fill it out about how my appointment was, I gave her all zeros, and I wrote a long paragraph about how I didn't feel heard, I didn't feel seen, I felt like a number. And she called me. And she was like, when she saw the survey, she knew right away the encounter. She remembered. And she was just like, how can I make your visit the next time you come? How can I make it more, impactful? And I just told her, I said, first of all, you have 15 minutes and you're not really paying attention to me. You were on a computer the whole time. So you're not really paying attention to me. And you was reading off of the computer. Not one time did you sit and ask to see how I was feeling, what was going on. And we didn't even get to connect. And she said, we only have 15 minutes when we see patients. And I'm a resident. So we have so many patients that we have to see a day. And I totally agree with you that, it's, it's hard to make a connection with the patients because 9 times out of 10, she's probably not going to see me again. And so she did apologize for it. And then she was like, if you want to schedule another appointment, I'll make sure I take time with you. But the next time I schedule my appointment, guess what? She wasn't even there. So it can be hard to really build a relationship with someone, with a doctor, when they're constantly moving. Angela says, I've been blessed to have the same physician for over 32 years. Girl, that's a blessing because that is unheard of. Now, I've had my dentist for a long time, but my doctor, no. And it could have something to do with insurance when you change jobs and your insurance changed. But I've been on my job for 22 years. So you think I would have the same doctor? No, absolutely not. So, and this is why it's important for you to speak up for yourself when you go, because this may be your first time seeing this person and they're trying to cram everything into this one appointment from some notes that they're seeing that the last doctor has left. So know your rights. We talked about if you need a translator or a patient advocate already. Number 16 is be direct. Be direct, be specific when you go into your appointments. You should be, whatever symptoms that you're feeling, the doctor, just be direct. I've been having a headache for 3 weeks. It's excruciating. I'm not able to do anything. It comes around this time and normally lasts about an hour. Like, be direct so that all they're going to do is type it in the computer where the symptoms are. And they're going to come back and say, oh, this could be this or it could be that. And then they're going to, of course, prescribe you something. Ask about the side effects when they are saying you have to take some medicine. Force them to tell you what the side effects are. Make them print out. They can print it out. They can go to their laptop and they can print out what the side effects are to the medicine that they're prescribing you. They can do it right then and there. What are the side effects? And force them to tell you what they are. And then you have to know, if you're feeling these side effects, what do you do? How soon should you come to the doctor if you're feeling these side effects? when you're at the doctor and you're taking notes, if you don't have anybody with you and you want to record the session, you have to ask permission. Don't just go in there and you got your phone and you're secretly recording the conversation, because that's against the law. Just make sure you be like, oh, do you mind if I record this conversation? Now, they may say no. They may say no, but at least you should ask. Don't just do it. Angela says, open up, ask questions. No question is a dumb question. No question. When it comes to your health, no, absolutely not. You should be asking all of the questions before you leave out of there to give yourself a peace of mind. The longest doctor's appointment that I've had was 45 minutes. And that was with my doctor that ended up leaving. She ended up moving to Arizona. And she sat with me for 45 minutes and she addressed every concern that I had. And she made, and I think it was because she made me her last patient. And so since I was the last patient, it wasn't a rush. And she just took her time with me and addressed everything. And I appreciated that. And I know that doctors cannot do that on a daily basis. But if you're not able to get all of your questions answered, then ask the doctor, can I email you when I get home if I have questions? Can I email you my questions that I have? And you get back to me, when you get a moment. Like, ask that question. You should be able to do that so that you can have a peace of mind. This is your health. This is your life. You only get one body. One body. You should also be telling the doctor about your history. So whatever the history is in your family. And this is so that they'll know what type of test that they should be referring you for when you get to those particular milestones. So be honest, be upfront about your history, about your lifestyle, so that they know what they're working with and what they should do. I talked about following up in writing. You can follow up with them and say, hey, we discussed this in my appointment, and these are the things that I'm concerned about, or these are the things I want to remind you to follow up with me about. Because sometimes they may forget because they're busy and they may not see you again for another whole year to 6 months. We should be asking about screening. If cancer runs in your family, then you should say, hey, such and such in my family had cancer at this age. Should I be concerned? If so, when should I be tested? Those are things that you should be, even on the forms that you fill out, they ask you, what is your family history on XYZ? If you're on any type of medication, bring that medication with you and let them know what it is. So if they're prescribing you anything, they can see if it's some sort of adverse effect. Number 24, advocate for yourself. This is your body. This is your health. Advocate for yourself. And my last one is know when it's time to look for a new doctor. Do not be afraid to look for a new doctor. Your health depends on it. So don't be afraid if it's not working for you. Not every provider and patient is a good match. If you feel like you're constantly being rushed, they're not listening to you, they're not answering your questions, they never have enough time for you, then maybe that's not a good fit for you. Don't be afraid to stand up for your health. Make sure that with the tips that I gave out, the next time you go to your appointment, implement one of those tips into your appointment so that you can feel empowered and you can move from patient to partner. You guys, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I want to highlight my sponsor, Gloria Dotson with Mary Kay. She's catering to all of your beauty needs from head to toe. You can go to marykay.com/GDOTSON. Make sure you tell her that Warriors Talk sent you. Warriors Talk is always looking for individuals to share their journey. It doesn't necessarily have to be a cancer journey for you to share. Just inbox me ready on Facebook, or you can email me at warriorstalk1@gmail.com. As always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell. I will leave you with these words of wisdom today. Your doctor should be a partner and not a dictator. Join me next Monday right here at 6 p.m. on Intellectual Radio, where my special guest will be Dr. Michelle Meeks for our Health and Wellness Monday. As always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on intellectualradio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.